Hello everyone. Today we are going to be working on a time lesson. We're going to be telling time, and then we're trying to determine if the time we're talking about in a given scenario happens in the AM or the PM, and I'm going to explain that to us. So we have a clock here. I'm going to zoom in on my clock. My clock has 12 numbers on it. It goes from 1 to 12 in a circle, and you all know from learning about clocks yesterday that we have two hands on a clock, an hour hand and a minute hand, and those hands go around the circle on the clock. Well, what you may not know or may not remember, or maybe you do know, is that in one day there are 24 hours. So from the time the sun comes up and the sun goes down and until the next morning, there are 24 hours. But I wanted to talk about how we know this and how we can apply this involving time. So I have a little timeline here. It's kind of like our number lines that we've used in the past, and it's broken down into the 24 hours that are in a day. And that's, 24 hours is how long it takes the earth to spin around in a circle. It goes around in a circle. That's how we have night and morning and night, 24 hours. So what that means, I'm going to start looking at over here on this end of our number line, or timeline here. We're going to call it timeline today because we're working with time. So if it starts at 12 a.m., that's like when it's dark. That starts the start of a new day. It's 12 a.m., but you're asleep at this time. On our clock, that's going to start right here. And then as we go, and let's say there's our hour hand, and our minute hand would start here too. But as we go around our clock, I'm going to go red. As the hour goes along, so if I got to 2, we would have kind of jumped 2 hours. If we keep going around this clock with the red one whole time, that's going to get us to noon. So anytime that clock, the hands on this clock goes around one revolution, that's 12 hours. That's half of our day. That's half of our day. So anytime between 12 a.m. and 11:59 p.m., or 11:59 a.m., 11:59. That's a.m. So that's really going to come 1 minute before this 12 o'clock. We would say a.m. So all of this is from the night when the moon's up until the sun rises. This is a.m. right here. So this little anchor chart's helping us. Now, if I'm thinking about my clock again, I'm going to go to blue this time. So that when the hour hands and the minute hands go around the clock again for the second time of the day, that's these hours. Up until 11:59 p.m. and then a new day starts. So I just wanted you all to see on the clock and in the number line how these things are related. So in a day, our hour hand goes around an analog clock, a clock like this, 2 times. The minute hand is going to go around 24 times because there are 24 hours in the day. So there's a little anchor chart for us, a little lesson there. Now we're going to apply it to some scenarios, okay? So let's look at some of these questions. The clock shows, looking at number 1, the clock shows the time Andy has piano lessons every Monday. What time does the clock show? So think about when Andy's going to have piano lessons. Well, first we need to see what the clock says. So I'm going to look at my hour hand first. That's the short hand. Then I'm going to look at my minute hand. My hour hand is on the 4. and my minute hand is at the 2. So the hour hand is between the 4 and the 5, so I know the hour is 4, and then at the 2, we know we go 5:10. So the time is 5:10. Or 4:10, excuse me, 4:10. So, but here's the deal. Is it 4:10 p.m. or 4:10 a.m.? Well, let's go back. 4:10 a.m. would be in this red zone here. 4:10 a.m., well, the sun would not even be up yet because we're going from nighttime to sun. Sun usually rises between like 7 and 8, typically. Sometimes maybe in the 6 hour, but it just depends. So hopefully you're sleeping at 4 a.m. 4 p.m. would be after school, so it would be p.m. So Andy's going to piano lessons at 4:10 p.m. Let's look at the second one. Mrs. Masters arrives home from work at 1:40 p.m. 1:40 p.m., is that going to be in the morning or in the afternoon? Think about that in your head, and then we just have to find the clock. 1:40 p.m. That's going to be in the afternoon. So I found the clock with an hour hand that's pointing at the 1, and then the minute hand is at 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. So there's our minute hand. So that would be that answer. But I just wanted you to think about when the time was. Let's see. Oh, here's another one. Jane goes to soccer practice at the time shown on the clock. What time is shown, and is it a.m. or p.m.? So Jane goes to soccer practice. Let's figure out at the time shown on the clock what time is shown. Is it a.m. or p.m.? So let's think about this. So let's figure out the time first. Hour hand is between the 3 and the 4. So since it's between the 3 and the 4, we know that the 3 comes first. And then let's look at the minute hand. Let's skip count by 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So it's 3:30. So now we need to determine a.m. or p.m. A.m. is, remember, in the morning, so it's from dark until light till like lunchtime. And then p.m. is past morning. That's how I like to remember that, past morning. Well, 3:30 p.m. is going to be in the afternoon after school's over. So it's going to be past morning p.m. is when it's going to be 3:30 p.m. when Jane goes to soccer practice. This last one we can talk about. David went to the dentist at 55 minutes after 11. So which clock shows 55 minutes after 11? And then we're going to say if it's a.m. or p.m. So let's find the clock that has 55 minutes after 11. So really that time we're looking for is 11:55, because that would be 55 minutes after the 11 o'clock hour. So which of these has an 11 as the hour? That's between the 10 and the 11. The second one's between the 1 and the 2, so that's out. Let's look at D here. Let's see. D, the hour hand's pointing at the 7. Nope, no good. A, it's between the 10 and the 11, which would make it the 10 hour, so that's not going to work. So let's look here. There's, between the 11 and the 12, so that's good. And then the minute hand, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. So that's going to be 11:55. Now, if David went to the dentist at 11:55 p.m., it's going to be dark outside. You should have been in bed for like 3 or 4 hours. We're about to start the new day. So does that make sense to you that it would be 11:55 p.m.? I don't think so. Not many dentist offices are open at 11:55 p.m. unless it's an emergency. So David went to the dentist at 11:55 a.m. But 11:55 a.m. is almost noon, which would be 12 o'clock p.m. So that's like 5 minutes before the afternoon. Okay, so that's just a little example to go over with you all. I hope this is helpful and that you all will get to do some cool practice, and let us know if you have any questions.